three sides of tower number one, and that is the only building
it's exploding right now, Tommy. We're seeing...
Oh my goodness, there's another one.
This seems to be on purpose.
I've directed the full resources of our intelligence and law enforcement communities to find those responsible and to bring them to justice.
Starting next month, we will be able to remove 10,000 of our troops from Afghanistan by the end of this year.
My baby.
Daddy?
Hi!
Dad!
You know, living in the barracks type deal, you've always got a roommate or a headmate. Everybody's literally 3 doors down type deal, or on the other side of the base. And, you know, everybody's in such a tight group. But you get out and you don't have that same camaraderie, essentially. You go from military to veteran, and you don't really understand what that means. You know, it's just another title that you throw behind your name.
What's helped me the most, talking to the other veterans in my life and not drinking.
Drinking suicide is very high for different branches, but I would say the main reason is to do with the cultural shift, because a lot of time these veterans will get stuck in a mindset of like, it's okay to do this every week or whatever, sometimes every day.
Drinking is because it's a way to escape. Like when people drink, it's like, oh well, let me remember how it was in old times, or their depression gets the best out of them, or they're always constantly remembering their fallen brothers or sisters.
I used to drink to help me sleep, but some people take it too far, and that's when veterans get alcoholism and suicidal ideations.
I mean, I smoked for 2 years straight. It was my self-medication. Stop nightmares wasn't, I mean, I was having them every single night.
Because I get by making jokes to help me feel better, whether it's suicide jokes or really any joke that comes to mind.
How many jokes have you heard about like shooting kids? How many? Because that's a reality of the job, right? It's like, oh, what if like you're in country and then some child picks up like an AK? That's part of the job. It's not about, oh, I'm taking the life of this kid. It's, I'm saving the life of the dude next to me who has to go back home to his kid. That's the way you're thinking about it.
And there were times where I was like, why am I here? Like, I would be like contemplating on like, you know, taking my life. It's like, why am I fucking here?
A lot of us deal with suicidal ideations, suicidal attempts, suicide. I mean, this, at one point in your life, you know, you wonder how could somebody do that? Like, you know, you have so much to live for, but in that moment, when you're thinking it and when you're, you know, you're at that lowest point, you feel alone even though you're surrounded by so many people. And I mean, I'm one of those people. Like, I mean, I've got a huge friend group that supports me just because I've been there for them in that moment. For me, it's like I feel so alone that I can't, like, I don't want to burden my friends with what I'm going through.
Well, for the families, I would be like, don't leave them alone, but don't nag them either.
My family was fine, because I had my dad. He understood, and a lot of my family understood what happened to me while I was there. And my friends, I don't really have civilian friends anymore, just because they don't answer their phone, or all they say is, oh, I'm sorry you had to go through that. I'm just venting. Shut up and listen. So I don't talk to them anymore.
If they open up to you, hear them out and try and and try and understand that perspective, because a lot of people won't open up to others.
Like, as soon as you're out of service, you're nobody. Yeah, you're a veteran, but for our brothers and sisters to go to the VA, seek help, get rejected, and then them go to their cars and blow their heads off.
The VA doesn't really help you get their benefits. You have to go out of your way in order to get it. I'll say definitely disability benefits wise, they make it very difficult, and it's understandable because it's money out of their pockets at the end of the day. As for any other benefit, it's just you have to go out of your way to get it.
I had my experience with the VA, but I decided to go private. I've been wanting to do appointments with the VA just because, I mean, it's free, healthcare. But I would rather pay out of pocket and know that I'm getting the service that I need. It's hard because we're sometimes a little too scared to go into detail of what's actually going on in our head. So we might feel like we're about to get put in a fucking padded room. And I haven't seen a psychiatrist, but as far as I know, that they would want to put me on sleep meds and probably give me something for depression. And it's just another pill. I mean, that's not fixing the problem.
They're making that process as hard as possible. And like I said, it makes sense. They save money by doing that. How many people do you think get that paperwork and they're like, no, I'm not doing that? I've talked to very few that actually care, but the majority are just there for a paycheck, and it shows.
The one I specifically worked with, her name was Marie. She's the one that helped me set everything up that I needed. I confided in her. I mean, got all my paperwork set, got all my appointments set for me. Really locked it in, and like there are people there that care.
In the military, you had a purpose, but in normal everyday life, you pick your purpose. Purpose isn't given to you, and people don't know how to do that because that transition period in your life is very important. You went from 19 to 23, getting told what to do every day, and now you don't get that anymore.
It's definitely a culture shock for me, like now, because like I'm one of the oldest ones in my classroom.
So I'm 28 now, and the kids that are in my classes are like 22. Isn't that weird? That would be weird, right?
There's certain things that we've experienced or that a lot of people wouldn't understand or have seen or even fathomed.
I don't tell people that I'm a veteran, but I've had some bad experiences with civilians. Kind of reminds me of like Vietnam era, where the younger civilians think that, if you're a Marine, you're just going out and killing a bunch of babies and kids and doing all this very gruesome, horrific stuff. And that's simply not the case.
So if you're gonna go to school, then see if that school's got veterans groups, because a lot of them do. VFWs, it's hard because a lot of people move too. They just go to these new areas.
See what hobbies you can finally do. Like, do something with your time that's productive, not just, I'm gonna drink every night, just like I did in the military service. That has no benefit.
I noticed that helped me a lot, just to do the things that I've always wanted to do, but I never had the time to do, because when you get out and you're not challenged, you're stagnant. But once you do find that challenge, that goal to work towards, I've noticed that it helps with the transition significantly.
So right now, I'm in nursing school and trying to get my RN and kind of figure it out from there. It's pretty difficult still, chasing something, but also knowing where you want to be and knowing the things like this is going to get me where I want to be, regardless if I'm doing this in the future.
Most veterans don't like to be called heroes.
It's very hard to explain how I feel about someone saying thank you for your service, because for me, I don't care. I'm not the hero.
It feels undeserved, I would say, because I was an infantryman that never actually got to do my job correctly. But people don't know that. People wouldn't even know. They'd look at me like training in 20 on palms, like firing a machine gun or whatever, and they'd be like, oh no, he's doing his job. Kind of.
You know, we're just struggling to keep being here. Try to read, they really need to try to read that individual's kind of mindset in the moment, because a lot of times it just sounds like a greeting.
You know, you kind of have to be humble to understand, like, what you experience is not what they have. Or if you got another veteran that says, like, well, thank you for your service, and then, you know, well, thanks, man.
I don't need to lose the camaraderie that I gained from the Marine Corps, because the other veterans can also give me that.
Because they embed to us like, hey, you're Marines, help each other. And then the vast majority of the people do take that into consideration. Like, hey, man, you're a Marine, you're struggling. If I know the answer to your problem, I'm just going to tell it to you. Be kind to everyone you interact. You don't know their life, because you may never know. That person can end up being your best friend.